contemporary issues in management, finance, and ICT. We want to express our heartfelt thanks to our President of Governing Body, Principal of our college, and Advisory Committee for organizing this webinar. I have the privilege for being your host today of this webinar. Before we get started, I would like to talk, I would like to take you through the purpose behind today's webinar. As we all know, the impact of coronavirus pandemic in 2020 on Indian economy has been largely disruptive. India's growth in the fourth quarter of the fiscal year 2020 went down to 3.1% according to the Ministry of Statistics. According to the World Bank, the current pandemic has magnified pre-existing risks to India's economic outlook. At this outset, we will try to delve into the various segments in economy and society to learn the challenges and its probable measures. Now, I would like to start today's event by inviting our respected dignitaries on our web platform. Our first dignitary is the chief patron of this webinar today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request Sri Apurva Majumdar, the President of Governing Body, Navagram Hidalalpal College. Sir, please get connected with us. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing this event. Next, I would like to invite our principal, sir, Dr. Srikanto Samanto. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, let me acquaint you with what is going to happen shortly. This webinar would be divided into two sessions. Today, we will have one lecture. Tomorrow, we will have two more lectures. It is going to be more informative. I sincerely hope that everyone will enjoy. At the outset, it is my privilege to invite sorry for this miscommunication. At the outset, it is my privilege to invite the President of Governing Body, Sri Apurva Majumdar, for inaugural address. All are requested to put their microphone in silent mode and video in off mode. I hand over to Sri Majumdar. Sir, over to you. Sir, sir, sir,
Hello.
am I audible?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Continue, please.
Hello. I can
You are
start.
audible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I am Apurva Majumdar, President of Hidalalpal College. Today, National Web Day on Contemporary Issue in Management, Finance and ICT organized by Department of Commerce with collaboration with IQAC, Navagram Hidalalpal College. So today, since we are having a virtual meeting, I would like to express my views regarding the current situation and the impact on economy due to this pandemic. Globally, coronavirus has produced an unstable environment for people. This has spread all over the world and called as a pandemic by World Health Organization. This has stopped many of economic activities and has no cure till date to fight with it. It has produced and economic impact on India along with the rest of the world. There is no doubt that COVID-19 will have a large impact on the Indian economy. With respect of India, the discussion can be divided into two parts: India's economy and its stock market. The recovery of the underlying economy will be slow and it will take around 2 years for normalcy to come back across sectors. While the overall economy might take a hit because of the government lockdown, some sectors are set to see immense growth in the post-COVID area. FMCG, B2CG, specialized lenders, gold dependent companies, food, retail, and pharmaceuticals companies, to name a few. Stock market have a mind of their own formed by the collective emotion plus intelligence of millions. They are often twist and are not the best indicators of the underlying economy. Stock market will have a strong recovery not due to the fundamental strength but due to global liquidity which is available for the almost free as interest rate nearly 10 to 0. Availability of the debit capital will be limited in India, while equity capital will be available in the plenty over the period of time. So this is a very bad situation at present. So we are facing many problems for this virus. So I am already thanks to all of our organizing committee. Hence, thank you everyone for listening. I hope everybody is doing well and spreading positivity. Stay home, stay safe, take care. One day we will overcome the situation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mojumdar sir. Now I request Dr. Srikanto Samanto, Principal, Navogran Hilalpal College, for welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Sir, are you here, sir? Sir, are you here?
Sir, sir, are you connected? Let us wait for a few minutes. I think he is showing as disconnected. I think he is trying to connect.
Suparna, I think sir is disconnected. So please hand it over
I think
to Omar
it is
or somebody.
excuse me, I can't hear.
Amarnath, please.
হ্যালো,
Hello.
সুপর্ণা, এই অমরনাথ, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, একটুখানি স্যারের সঙ্গে ফোনে কথা বলো না, ফোন 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 কানেকশন করো। হ্যালো, প্রিন্সিপাল স্যার নট হিয়ার?
I think he is trying to connect. He is showing us disconnected. We are trying to connect with a principal, sir.
অমরনাথ বাবু, হোয়াট ইজ দ্য প্রবলেম? হ্যালো,
We are very sorry to miscommunication. Our principal, sir, is not here. He is showing us disconnected. I think he is trying to connect.
Hello. Hello.
Suparna, Sir Easton, তুমি
Hello.
Hello, Suparna.
Hello.
Hello. I'm here.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
I am audible. I am audible now.
Yes, sir. You are audible. Thank you, sir. Now
Yes. Sorry for the interruption. I must begin by expressing that it's a pure bliss and delight that our two-day national webinar is being organized by the Department of Commerce on contemporary issues in management, finance, and information and communication technology (ICT). Good morning, everybody. First of all, I heartily welcome Sri Apurva Mojumdar, President of the governing body of the college, who happens to be the inaugurator of the two-day national webinar today. I welcome on behalf of the college and academic fraternity, Dr. Rishi Raj Sharma, Professor of Business Management, Associate Dean, Guru Nanak Dev University, Punjab, for sparing some valuable time in spite of his busy academic and hectic administrative schedule. I also welcome Professor Shakhoshina De, convener of the Today National Webinar, Dr. Amarnath Bhattacharya, head of the department, other faculty members of the department, my dear colleagues, participants, other participants across the state and across the country, and the students at large. As you know, the country is looming large over a global pandemic. In these situations, if the stakeholders I think there has been somebody will turn off his microphone. Every stakeholder of every institution of higher education is confined, be it academicians, students, teachers, and the like. So, in this critical juncture, the Department of Commerce of my college feels it a noble pledge to enliven the academic ambience in a single way. For this reason, this is very important and the topic is very contemporary. I once again welcome you all. Have a good day. Thank you all.
thank you, sir. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any question during the presentation, just write them in chat box. We will have a question answer session at the end to answer your question. And then I think our today's speaker, Dr. Rishiraj Sharma, now is connected. Let us wait for a few minutes. Then I introduce two speakers to all of you. He is showing us disconnected. I think he is trying to connect.
meditation সবক্ষেত্রে একটা চ্যালেঞ্জ অনলাইন ভাষা এবং ফাইনালি
Again, good afternoon. Due to some technical problem, our resource person, Dr. Rishiraj Sharma, he is not connected now. For few minutes, after few minutes, he is trying to connect. Please with us. Due to some technical problem, he is not now connected, not with us. Our department all. Thank you all participants with us. We have some technical problem. So miscommunication in our webinar. Very sorry for this miscommunication.
technical problem.
Hello. Hello. Dr. Shakya. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is
Uh,
Dr. Rishi here. Yeah.
Sorry for the inconvenience. There is we are facing some lot of network problem. Our speaker today, Dr. Rishiraj Sharma, has been very kind to agree to be a part of our webinar series. Today, he is speaking on management principles enshrined in Vedas. Dr. Sharma is a professor, Department of Business Management, Associate Dean, Guru Nanak Dev University, Punjab. He has 52 research publications. He was awarded gold medal twice and notably Professor M.M. Shah Memorial Research Award by Indian Commerce Association at All India Commerce Conference hosted by Bangalore University and KIIT Bhubaneswar. Book published titled Ethical Dimension in Advertising with LA Publisher, Germany. Dr. Sharma is also engaged as a reviewer for journals of Emerald Insight, Science Publishers, and Trade Publications. I am very thankful to Professor Sharma for taking this and agreed to do this webinar in a very short notice. So, his today's topic is management principles enshrined in Vedas. I hand over to Professor Sharma. Professor, over to you.
Yeah. Hello. 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 Am I
Yes,
audible, Doctor?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
You are audible. Yes, sir. Please continue, sir. Your
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for the nice and kind words you have used to introduce me to the web audience over here. And like you have specified, that I'll be deliberating today upon management principles as for the management. We see that we
এই যে
Able to the audience, the connection was disconnected. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Now you are audible.
Yeah,
Now you are
I,
audible.
I lost the connection. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, like I was telling to you that there is a lot of scope as far as the research in this area is concerned, and we can go for Indian principles and we can talk much about, what management is. And like when we see for economics, we see that Arthashastra was the first book upon economics by India. Like so many principles explained in that. Even in the field of medicine, in the field of science, in the field of surgery, we have a lot of Indian people. Many rich rishis and all, they were working towards that area. And same is with the management also. And if we go towards that now, I'll be explaining through the way of my presentation that how and what is the correlation and how I have tried to incorporate the principles which are enshrined in a Vedic literature, and then to tell something that what they conclude upon with the managerial thoughts. The basic premise here is like we are teaching our students something which is borrowed theory. When I say borrowed theory, that means a theory which has been applicable somewhere in some part of the continents of the western areas, and then we are trying to apply same thing here in India. It's very difficult. Why? Because our cultural differences are there and people may not accept it. So that is something a lack. If we can teach our students, if we can make our managers very much based upon the principles which are Indian, so that will be very easy for them to cooperate and to correlate the things with them. So that is the basic premise. What we are doing still now is we are taking the things from there, we are taking the problems from that area, and we are trying to solve our problems with their solutions. So that is a difficult thing. So this is just a premise, and I'm not condemning any of the way like what Western people have said. I'm, I truly agree with whatever they said, but I want to state that even in India we have some, most of the principles and most of the things which can correlate with our culture. So that is the thing. So we are trying to
online.
Hello.
Okay, maybe I suppose that was being muted, so that may be the case. Mute button was there.
Hello.
Now it's audible. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Yeah. So can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
And is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
I'm sharing my screen. Dr. Suparna.
Yes, you can proceed, sir.
So my screen,
You can proceed, sir.
okay. My screen is visible.
Now,
Yeah.
not visible. No, at this moment, that's not visible.
It's not visible.
It's visible.
Now it is visible.
Now it's
Okay.
visible. Now it's visible, sir.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
it's visible.
Okay. My humble suggestion to you is like for carrying webinars and all, you can use Zoom as a better alternative for all this, because I have seen that troubles come with the Google Meet. I don't know. It's your personal choice anyways, just a suggestion. So right now I'll be starting with, so my basic presentation comprises of revitalizing management principles and models, and I'll be taking Vedic perspective into this. And so please. So this is something which, I want you all to think of, that whether the Indian ethos, they have any relevance to the modern management system. Because when we talk of a new form of education, even the new education policy is here, and we say a person to be produced as a good scientist, geologist, business entrepreneur, good software engineer, but is he a good man too in the true sense of word? Then second query I have is, can we rely upon the management theories given by West, hijack the case studies of US companies and apply them to train the youth of India? So these are, some questions which are in my mind, and I want the audience to think over it. And I feel the answer very simply has been given by many years by Mahatma Gandhi. And he says simple living and high thinking must be resorted to again. So according to Indian ethos, the answer to the growing management complexity is not the bigger tangles of complexity, rather it is opposite. So in India, we take everything as a very sacred. Our duty is, we say duty is worship. So sacred in simple ways. So our every act is just like a prayer. Every step toward that prayer is our pilgrimage. So that is the work and conduct for us. And for I call it as divinizing the management. The model is divinizing the management because the divine values we'll be trying to define management according to Indian ethos. And here the principle is to strive for pure mind, and emotions and feelings are not to be neglected here. No doubt we talk of rationality, but then emotions and feelings are very important, and they are more important than intellectual abilities of the person, because man is more of emotions and feelings rather than just mere an intellectual machine. So in a wholesome manner, intellect can, if we just see the intellectual powers, it can be used as a destructive force also. So, but if your heart is pure, you are emotional at heart, and you have true feelings, and you can empathize with the other people. So your mind, you can go through heaven or hell. That depends upon your mind and your emotions. So that is why the cleansing of mind is very, very important. So what I feel, there is a need to re-examine the prevailing management teaching, its discipline, objective scope and content. And here we are trying to redefine the individual not as a wage earner but as a human being. So focus should be on the quality of management education in India and how it can be enhanced by incorporating the principles and values from the ancient system of learning, and by adopting the teaching concepts given in all Indian texts and epics like Vedas. So I will be addressing with you the principles of total quality management. Can the others please mute their mic? There's a lot of disturbance coming to my. Please, if you can mute. Yes. So total quality management, principles of management as they're given in Upanishads and even Gita also. And then Vedic approach, what Vedas has to say about transaction analysis, then what Vedic view is towards Nishkama Karma, that is holistic view of management, and then Trinity concept, which is explaining us effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity, and motivation and leadership, as Vedas says, and manager what he should be in terms of Rig Veda, and some critical issues and how we can manage. And the last is how we can manage our own self because it is the self who can penetrate everywhere. It is with the self you manage everything. So if you don't manage yourself, you end up with nothing. So self-management, how Rig Veda talks about that. So this is a simple thing which we can say. So management, we have been talking about management. So for me, philosophically, it's one man with his experience. He, controls the group of subordinates or the workers. And there is always a tension. Why? Because people, mostly a group of persons, they don't want to listen to one man. Like a teacher taking class of 100 students. So they don't want to listen to him. So where is the problem? The problem is the tension between this man and the group. And if we can convert this T of tension to T of trust, then definitely everyone will be believing. When Dr. Roy was explaining my resume to you, it was something to build in trust in you that the speaker here is who has been invited has this much of expertise or areas or whatever. So that is trying to build up a trust in the audience. So when they do that, they actually incline you towards your listening parameters, and that is why you're ready to listen, because you want to be first of all taken into confidence. And this trust is based upon transparency. So if you're not transparent, the trust element reduces. So that is why nowadays the focus is upon transparency. And in one of the verses of Gita, I'm saying one of the verses of Mahabharata, he says, Satyam Vad Dharmachara. So that means if we are true with our, balances and accounts, so we don't need any audit for that. So that is something very, very important. So if you are very much ethical in your decision making everywhere. So this is one of the observation. It was approximately in 1985 when IBM USA was making losses. In Japan, the same company IBM was making profits. So what the US people, they tried to adopt the Japanese style of management to turn around, but the result was increased losses. Now the question is, the style which was successful in Japan, it's not successful as in US. So why? Simple reason, because people were different, the cultures were different, and so was the lifestyle. So this particular observation, this particular thing also makes us to focus upon that if we want to manage people in our society, we have to draw some lessons from our ethical background, from some cultural specific areas, and from our own psychological makeup. So some Indian ideals in management, what we say. So in India, management is mostly treated as a behavioral science, and it is a cultural specific area. When we say, so हमारे लिए this is a prabandhan. So when we say prabandhan, so that means how we control and how we manage the objective orientation of the organization through people. So that is cultural specific. Indian management is not just telling about us what morality is, because everyone knows what is right and wrong, but they are trying to tell us that how we can implement good values in reality and we can be an achiever. So can good values pays us better dividend? Can honesty help us to grow in the industry? And how cooperation can make us a better growing person? And it's not just the competition which leads to the growth, but it's the cooperation also which leads to the growth. So that is the Indian ideals. So I'm audible to everyone. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible to us.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So till 1990, the management approach was mostly based upon left brain, that is logical and analytical style, and reasoning based. That was basically based upon the deductions from the analytical styles of case studies and empirical evidences. But now we are also talking about, right brain, and that right brain is intuitive, that is contemplation. Here, induction and intuition is very, very important. Now we say that the manager who are high in intuitive power and they are more creative and they're imaginative, so they are more suitable for solving the problems rather than just being a critical analyzer. So that means intuition is one thing, and this intuition is not just getting something in disguise. It is something which is by the contemplative abilities of the person, at how much he has looked inside into a problem and how much insights he has developed. If you go for the scientific discoveries, you will feel that in many areas people have discovered and people have invented something based upon the power of their creation and creativity. That that creativity is coming from there inside, it's not the outside world, it's your inside. So that means if you want to deal with the crisis, it's not only the data which will tell you something, it is your own intuitive ability to imagine and to create, which is going to create the solutions for the crisis in the matter. So some principles in Upanishads, they say that every human being has immense potential. So they say every human being. That means every human being is considered, that is a holistic view. They take person as a whole, and they say that every man is possessing potential, energy and talents. So view him as a whole, not just as a person to work, but as a person as a whole. Then every manager must try to develop his jnana chakshu, that is his eye of wisdom. So you can have knowledge, but you may lack wisdom. And wisdom is more important when decision making is there. Because knowledge is based upon the facts and the figures, but wisdom is based upon the experiential part of it. And that is what we need in the time of crisis. Like even in the COVID nowadays, what we are trying to use is our wisdom, People are using their household remedies to prevent and to increase their immunity. What is that? That is again one sign of wisdom. Some people are using some, herbs and all. So that is based upon their wise thought, their wisdom. They're trying to do that. Then work done is taken as worship in India. So that means it's karma yoga. When we say it's a karma yoga, that means the work is selfless. We are not working for any rewards. We here work as a part of life. We don't exist without work. And yoga is not just exercise here. Yoga means your perfection. So here yoga means unification of your work and quality of output. Whatever you do with perfection in work and how it leads to your quality of output. So in India, yoga is to deal with total quality management. And by cooperation and mutual help, like as a collaborative group, so we will take everyone towards human welfare. That is state of welfare concept as given in the West also. Then we here say knowledge is not power. This is very important. Most of the time we hear knowledge is power. If knowledge had been power, then knowledge can be very destructive power also. It is the character which is the real power. If you want to create something good, the question here is creation can be for something devastation also. So creation for good, that means character is real power. If you are basing your values and your character is there and you are basing your knowledge upon some good premises or values. So on divinity, if you are doing value-based things, your knowledge will contribute. So that means character should be governing the knowledge and not the vice versa. And by ethical management, you can also make profits. Profit is not a bad word, but the only thing is you should not try to exploit the people, but you should be human and ethical while making it. So that is very, very important. And for all this, you need self-introspection, self-analysis, self-criticism. And we have to see each and every area. If we introspect our own self, if we analyze our own self. So that is why in India, they always say, you sit and close your eyes and meditate. So that meditation is brain stilling. It's not brainstorming. In West, we talk of brainstorming. I, just wonder that how 10 people sitting and, debating upon something and come to a conclusion. Most of the time, they can arrive at a certain conclusion, but at sometimes, many of the time, it may create confusion also. But if a person with high, knowledge and who has a lot of experience in the area, and he sits and, he meditates, he will definitely arrive at a solution. Even it happens in our day-to-day life also, that if we are not coming to the right solution, we close our eyes and we think, and then we think in our own introspection, in our own brain stilling. Brain stilling means you still your thoughts, you focus, and once you focus upon the problem, definitely a decision making and meditative silence will occur, and that increases your intuitive power. And now these are some of the concepts which have been explained by the Western authors, and I'll be trying to explain these concepts of transaction analysis, efficiency, motivation, leadership, what Vedas has to say about it. This is very, very important, I feel. Like most of the time, we are teaching our students or practitioners the known field of study and what is the knower who knows the concept. Like let us take an example from science. If we say law of inertia, we all know that law of inertia has been, discovered by Newton. And students know what is inertia and how to break that inertia and what is the law of inertia. But we are not trying to tell our students that what was the process of knowing here. So that means what we are imparting is 1/4 of the knowledge, the knower and the field of the study. And he will mug up, he will just cram it, he will just learn it, and he will be just, a reproducer of the concept which is originally already there. Where we have focused on the creativity part. If we want our student to be creative, if we want our manager with the intuition, if we want them to create something, we have to tell them that what was the processes which Sir Isaac Newton has gone through. What are the psychological impediments which he has gone through? What are the scientific temperament he had, so that we can create this type of law, and we can make this type of law, or we can discover this type of law. What was in his mind? If we try to explain all that processes, definitely we will be making our student more conscious. So that is what I say, Vedic consciousness based education, where they focus more upon the process. We don't have to teach the people the tricks of the trade. If a businessman is teaching his son the tricks of the trade, then that is not a right practice. Rather, he should teach him the trade itself. And once he knows the trade, he will definitely know what are the different tricks by which he can succeed more. Or he may become a manager with good management qualities, even better than his father, because he knows the trade and he may produce better results with his own knowledge. So not killing the creativity of the person is by telling him the process, so that he can also encounter and come with some better aspects. And this is the way of progress. And now this is transaction analysis. When Mr. Goldman is saying about transaction analysis, because in book I Am Okay, You Are Okay, he's talking about transaction analysis. He's talking about 3 types of stages: parent, child, and ego, and adult ego stage, where he is talking about the transaction from parent to child, from child to parent, from adult to adult, and parent to adult. So here he's just talking about 3 types of combinations mostly. But in Mahabharata, in this Rig Veda, they have talked about 4 ways of dealing with the people. One is Sam, that means equally; Dan by rewarding; Ved by discriminating; and Dand by punishment. These are the ways to treat or motivate, and they have classified the personnel or the human resources into the 3 basic characteristics. And these character sets are tamasic, who's a simpleton. Simpleton here means foolish. So he's a foolish man, tamasic. Rajasic, who is ambitious, and sattvic is a wise man. So let us consider, like on this side, we have the method Sam, Dan, Ved, and Dand. And here we have tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. These are the character sets. So let us take an example. If we want to treat equally, if you want that person should be treated equally, the tamasic man has to be guided. Why? Because he is a foolish man, and he should be guided at all the matters. Whereas Rajasic is an ambitious person. He is very much aware of the things. What he needs is just information to perform his actions. So that is what most of the time the kings, they are into this arena. So they are just informed and then they do. And Sattvic, these are, the ministers, or you can say the acharyas, they are consulted for that matter. So that is some way to deal with 3 types. If Dan means by rewarding we want to deal with them, then for tamasic man, simple reward, they have to be in the form of monetary incentives. Because tamasic is a foolish man, he will realize the things when they will come to him in a material world, only. But if the man is rajasic, he is already a king. Can you motivate king by giving him more wealth? It's very difficult. So what you need is to empower him more. You need to give him more power, so that he is motivated. And for Sattvic man, he is not even inclined towards money and power, but he needs recognition of his ideas. He needs people changing with his ideas, with his consultation part. So this is the way you can use all this. Same as with the Ved. Ved means discrimination, and how you can deal with all the characteristics. In Ved form, the tamasic man has to be criticized, the rajasic has to be challenged, and sattvic has to be monitored. And same is with the done punishment. So these are like, this is the transaction in India. We talk of the 3 characteristics in total population of people, and then we talk of 4 ways of dealing with them. And for every box, in every, you can see here in this matrix, everywhere there is, a solution provided to us. So I feel this is much better than adult to adult and parent child and these type of things, because they're very much generalized, but this is very focused and this is very specific. And Nishkama Karma means a manager has to perform his job by not getting attached to it. So this is very difficult at times, but this is the true essence. Because when we are attaching ourselves and we are just doing our job for the sake of attachments in the form of money, in the form of goals, and in the form of achievement, sometimes we may not get that thing in that appropriate manner, and then we get dejected and frustrated. And we see a lot of the disastrous cases happening. Recently, we heard a news of Mr. SSR, that is this Chant Singh Rajput committing suicide. Even it's not yet claimed whether it was a murder or a suicide. But whatever it is, till now the stress is the basic reason they are saying. So these type of the stresses, they come when you expect something more and you get something less. So if we detach ourselves and we just perform our action, so that is what is stated in Gita, the concept of Nishkama Karma, when Krishna says about action without getting attached to its reward. So he should not be thinking of the ends. End is important because that is your objective. But if all the time you're thinking of completing that objective and working towards it, you will be, very much under pressure. You should know your objective and you should start working. And definitely once you have started moving, you will achieve your goal. That should be the concept, and you should leave. They say, even in English, do whatever you can and then leave the things to the God to fill the blank. There is always a blank, and that blank has to be filled by your fate. So you should do your best and then leave the things towards your action-based karma. If you have performed your right karma, definitely right type of the reward will be coming to you, and you will be rewarded, but you should not be attached to that. So that is to de-stress. Now this is like how in India we have been scripting God, and we all say God is one, and definitely God is one in India also. But we see a lot of faces of gods in India. These are not exactly, these are the reincarnations. And why we needed reincarnations? Why? Because when the time change, the perspective change, and definitely the type of the people change, they need a new reincarnation. That new incarnation means in the new perspective, the Lord is born and the Lord is there to guide. So that is the concept of avatars. And avatars are the version of the same God otherwise. And we take this as a trine. This trine is Trinity or Trimurati. When we say Trimurati, we talk about Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And Mahesh is Shiva here. And if we see Brahma, he is the generator. And if we see Vishnu, he is the operator. And if we see Shiva, he is the destroyer. And if we, they are always seen together. These 3 Muratis, they 3 are together always. So that is Brahma is generator, O operator, and D destroyer. That is God again. So this is Indian way of defining the God, generator, operator, and destroyer. But when I look it towards them from the managerial point, so we have to classify them first into the phases of time. Brahma is representing the future because he is dealing with the creation, and creation happens in future. And Vishnu ji is representing the present because he is preserving, he is giving us the wealth, he is giving us the comforts of life. So he is dealing with the present situation. And when we talk of Shiva, he is there to destroy the things. And this destruction which has been made becomes as a past to them. And when we talk of the forces of nature they govern, the Brahma is called, taking up the creation part. So he is a creator. And when we talk of Lord Vishnu, he is the growth orientation is there. He's talking about growth because in present you grow with your actions. And Shiva, since he can destroy, he can only protect, because if you have power to destroy, then only you can protect someone. If you don't have that, then you can't. And when we see Brahma, he is leader because leaders are the creators and creator has to be a leader. And when we see Vishnuji, he is a manager. He manages your growth and prosperity. And Shiva is bureaucrat because he is talking about result orientation and destruction based upon your actions. So he is a bureaucrat. So when we talk of the classes of work, Brahma, since he is a creator and every creation has to be excellent, and he is dealing with excellence, and Vishnu is dealing with effectiveness because the manager has to be effective in his performance, and Shiva is dealing with the efficiency part. And now the question is, what is the exact essence? The exact essence is, this is past, this is future, and everything is in today. In India, we say of Kal and Aaj. We don't have any yesterday and tomorrow. We have Kal and Aaj. The gone part is Kal, the coming part is Kal, and the present part is Aaj. So this Aaj is Vishnu. That means both of them, they coincide. That means excellence and efficiency are to be dealt with effectiveness to manage our life. So that is why all the avatars, they are the Vishnu avatars, and they talk about how to manage our life, and with excellence as a guidance and with efficiency as a guidance. So in both the ways, Brahma and Shiva, they are guiding this Trimurti, and the central part of the Trimurti is always the Vishnu. And that centralized is your Aaj, your today, or your present. And your present, if it is effective, it can be only effective if you are excellence, if you're trying excellence, and if you are efficient in your way. And that is what Indian premise of taking efficiency, effectiveness, and efficiency is. We say efficiency and excellence are the major, you say, the differentiators or the major parameters of defining effectiveness. So when we say Vishnu here, means the definition that today is based upon our past and what we want to intend to come with. So that is what the concept of Trimurti from the managerial viewpoint is here. So next is the Vedas is also, they are talking about leadership, and in Purusharth Chatushtha they talk of Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha. So that means the four objects of human life, they are righteousness, wealth, glory, and prosperity. And here they say that if you're right with your action, then you can achieve liberation or salvation. This is very, very important. So a leader should be right, so that liberation does not mean moksha only. Liberation means liberated from the attachments and performing your duty with the right actions. And very important here is the motivation part in the last line written here, the removal of obstacles. Again, I will say the removal of obstacles during the performance of job leads to motivation. You know what happened to Arjuna when he was there in the field of Kurukshetra? He was there to perform his duty, to fight as a Yodha, to fight as a brilliant fighter. But then when he saw on the other side his, grandparents, like his Pitama, and then all his cousins and his guru, so he became demotivated, and he asked Lord Krishna that even if I win, what type of victory it is when I will be killing my own people. Because this side I am fighting, they are my people, and the people whom with I am fighting, they are also my own people. And both the ways who will be killed is my own blood. And what type of victory is this? So this is a sort of, you can say, obstacle. This obstacle was psychological obstacle. Generally, in the field of performance, the Western people are talking about carrot and stick and all, and Maslow's hierarchy. They talk about motivation with incentives and with the environment. They are not talking of the motivation from the psychological or from the moral part or from the insight. Because Arjun is a very, very well-able man. He is there to fight. He's an excellent fighter. But he is demotivated now because his own conscience is deviated, is disoriented. Not towards the action, towards the emotions now he is moving. So Krishna recognizes this, that this psychological obstacle has come to his mind, and how you can remove that. In India, we see that every man wants to work. If he is not working, there may be some obstacle. If a child is not studying, you should look at what is the obstacle in his mind. There can be majorly one obstacle in these days is he feels that even if I do some good education I may not get the job. That is one psychological obstacle. So you have to remove this obstacle. No, it's not like that. You have to say to him because your job is not dependent upon your education only. If you are educated, you can manage so many things in your life. Education is more important than just getting a job, because job can be given to an uneducated man also. But if you want to grow, if you want to grow intellectually, if you want to grow as a human, you need education for that. So that is a psychological way of motivating the person. So what stages, even in psychology, they are using still now these stages. So this is have been derived from Krishna. What Krishna did, Krishna immediately assumed the Virat root. So Virat is becoming big. So now why he became big? He became big to tell Arjuna that he is now not no more his friend. He is basically the superpower. Because you only bow your head to the more powerful person than you. You listen to the person having more knowledge than you. So that is why he made himself big. Even like in our classroom, we try to place our teachers on some, stage or on some stand that is at a higher status than the students. Because knowledge always, as the law of gravity is here also in the knowledge, the things flow from top to bottom. So he assumed a higher role, and he made Arjuna to listen with patience. So Arjuna is kneeling down and listening with patience. So firstly, you listen with patience. And then you reverse that. Now Krishna was listening to Arjuna that what are his problems. So as a doctor, as a psychological motivator, you first listen to the problems of your patient. So while he was explaining all the things, you should not speak. You should listen to each and every doubt he is having. So once you're clear with that, you assume your knowledge phase, that is your Virat Roop, and then you try to motivate that person first by putting stress upon his strengths. So that is why Krishna used the word Purushottam for them. Purushottam means best in all the available set of human beings. Purush Uttam, that means the best man available. So he told him that you are the best man available. That is why I am explaining. My godly face is not to be seen by everyone. You are blessed because of your karmas. That is why you are seeing me. Then try to discuss the intellectual level and show the essence of karma and duty. So he removed this obstacle by telling that you are not killing anyone, you are not destroying anyone. They have already been destroyed and they should be destroyed because they are at the wrong side. Even if a right person is standing at the wrong side, ultimately destruction has to take place. This is what he explained. And then he showed him the action plan to achieve the goal. So this is very important. You have to tell the person the action plan, that how we can reach our goal. And finally, what are the consequences? So he told that if the victory is of the wrong side, even if with the right people, the wrong side wins, what is going to happen? A chaotic situation is going to be created. Adharma means wrong deeds will prevail. But if you win, your forces they win, then dharma will win. And to establish dharma, we need to destroy even the right people at the wrong side. So this is how he motivated him. This is how he, eliminated his psychological view, point towards the fight he was engaged. The fight is not with the external world, but the fight was inside his own mind. So that is how he eliminated that particular, quest or fight in his mind. Then the next concept is how we can take manager as in parlance to Agni. Agni means fire. So here I am trying to correlate the qualities of fire into the qualities of a manager. If a manager have all these qualities which are there in fire, then he will become a very, very successful manager in a material world, in a psychological world, and even in the spiritual manner. Our life is basically talking of three things, The first is our intelligent quotient. That is just to produce results. The second is our emotional quotient. That is again just to control some group of people. And the third is very, very important, and that is spiritual quotient. And this spiritual quotient is how you deal with your own manifestation as a human being, as a potential man who is manifested by the God to perform something. And this manifestation is the spiritual being inside us. One more being which relies, which is inside me. So that how we can deal with them, because most of the time we are facing problems not because somebody has created problem, because we have the problem in our mind, and that mind makes us to focus upon the things which may not exist. It is the fear in the mind of the man that is not ready to jump, and it is no fear in the mind of the man who is jumping and succeeding. So the human being is same, the potential is similar, but what discourages him is the fear inside. So this is one of the, you can say, disequality or inequality between two sets of people. It is the feeling of lobh or calm. A man is greedy and the other man is not greedy. So we have to focus upon these qualities and how we can, because manager here is not only a person who is getting the work. No, he is a person who is performing, who is leading towards the yield, towards the output of the organizational, activities. So first of all, he should have those qualities, whether he can be a good leader. Is he right in his own perspective? And that is what we take an example from Agni. Agni means fire. And Agni Devata, we say, fire is having the qualities of foresightedness, pragmatism, wittiness, innovative, enlightenment, and fire is enterprising. I'll explain how. The fire always rises high. No fire will rise, no fire will come from top to bottom. Fire always go from bottom to top. So that means a manager has to be foresighted. He should look ahead, like fire has rising ability of from lower part to the higher parts. Similarly, a manager has to look ahead and he should have that rising ability. So foresightedness. Then Agni expand upon ground realities. So ground reality means reality in form of practicality, in form of pragmatism. So fire is pragmatic. It is on ground. It is on the surface. It is never in air. It is always on the surface. So manager has to be grounded on the ground realities of life. He should not just talk of, castles in the air. He has to be grounded. Then very strong quality of Agni is, fire starts with a spark. It has a special glow. So this is wittiness. A manager should have a glow, a wit. Wit means one word for so many queries. A very short, brief perspective for a very long explanation. That is what fire does, One spark can devastate the whole building. So that is the power of fire. So this is the wittiness. Then very important characteristic of Agni is to burn to ashes. And it even burns to ashes. So if you see how gold is made pure, it is time and again purified through fire only. And this fire destroy all that slugs, the slugs of impurities of gold to make it more pure. So manager has to be innovative to holocaust himself for all the shortcomings of his colleagues or his subordinates. So he should be, destroying all shortcomings and trying to come out the gold existing between all the men and making all the men of gold. That is the power of fire, and that is the power of purification, and that should be the manifestation in the manager also. Then fire has the quality of light. Light is something which removes darkness. So this quality of light, removing darkness, should be there in the manager. He should be able to remove the darkness existing in the mind of the people he's controlling. And this darkness is enlightenment. When he can enlighten the people he is controlling, and definitely those people will understand and follow him. Then a very important characteristic again of fire is the origin. This is the most important thing I see, because nowadays we talk of many terms are there, smart work and these type of things. This is all nonsense, rubbish. Why? Because no life exists without struggle. You see, you go in depth towards every human being who is great, and there is a great struggle behind that man. You talk of Bill Gates, and there is a great struggle behind that man. You talk in India of Maulana Abdul Kalam. Again, lot of struggle behind that man. In Bengal, we talk of Gurudev, Rabindranath Tagore. Lot of struggle again in that. So without struggle, you cannot be enterprising. And no fire, you cannot have fire without friction. And this friction is struggle. So if you want to succeed in the life, the frictional forces has to be dealt. They have to be managed to produce you, to make you more pure, to make you more enterprising, and to make you more successful. You know, we all have nooks and corners, and these nooks and corners will be, chiseled to make us more mobile, to make us more round, and to make us flow anywhere with least of the friction. Even in science, we say that static friction is much more higher than the rolling friction. And that rolling friction can be decreased with the struggle. This struggle is chiseling the sides of that particular square sided to make it more round. So this rounding off means making your character out of your struggle. And then with your wisdom and your hard work, you succeed. It's not that smart work. It's basically the hard work. Even in management science, we talk of critical path. What is this critical path? Critical path, CPM, we talk of PERT CPM. The CPM is the critical path method, and critical path is always the longest path. If you travel the longest path, you travel all the activities. Because the longest path will contain all the small paths. And success is always the longest path, not the smallest. So this was all about some, managerial principles with their enshrinement in the Vedas and epics, Upanishads, and now some critical issues. We talk of stress management through Vedic remedies, environmental management. These are two issues which are coming up again and again and again till we started with our civilization, stress and environmental, management. Because now we are in the society, we are seeing that how our environment is being deteriorated, and we have to care for that. First, we talk of stress. So stress is a situation in which a person feels a conflict, and he feels conflict and threat beyond his capacities. It can be emotional or a psychological situation, and he's down with that. So first of all, how can you deal stress with yoga? Yoga means unification. Unification of body, mind, and spirit. And by performing some asanas, our total body is based upon the geometry. Our total universe is based upon the geometry. There is a strong orbital connection between all the planets. And that is why they are attracting each other. And that is why their orbital movement is there. If we see human being, we have a specific shape based upon the geometrical references. If you start cutting human being into two pieces, we have a very, very symmetrical, two parts. You can cut them into equal parts. Why? Because we have a geometric space. So that is why in yoga they talk of asanas. These asanas are the positions making your geometry of body right. If I want to deal with some, so that is why these asanas are not to be taken just as exercise for your physical development, but also as an exercise for your mental development. Because if you make the body geometry right, your most of the problems are solved by just correcting your posture. So in yoga, they are very much relying upon the posture. Fine. So first of all, participants, they are trained to think what stress is and what are the stressors. Once they know what are the stressors, they are told to acquire the practice, the skills to cope with the stress. And these skills are through meditation, through yoga, through your breathing movements, and then some other stress management techniques are also targeted to monitor their effectiveness. Then very important is science of creative intelligence. This is transcendental meditation. This TM has also been, patented by I'm forgetting the name, by Brahma Rishi. He's there in West End. This is a patented TM. And he says that by transcendental meditation, there are a lot of courses now in TM which people are doing, where they chant upon the seed mantra for 20 minutes or for 15 minutes in the morning and evening. And you know what happens by these mantra? There are some quality of vibrations which are produced, and these vibrations are actually trying to correct your personality. Because this mantra is always a synchronization of few words. If you feel, you can sing any mantra. So why you can sing any mantra? In any language, if there is a mantra, you can sing it. Why? Because there is a proper synchronization of the words. There is a proper melody behind those words. And that is a pleasing melody. Even if you don't understand a language, you don't understand, let's say Sanskrit. But if somebody is speaking Gayatri mantra, Om Bhur Bhavaswa, and then you will feel good about it, even just by listening to it. That is the synchronization, the melody of it. And that is, even helping your body is our body is in a constant state of vibration otherwise also. But that may be a disoriented vibration. So this mantra, chanting is trying to help us to synchronize our vibrations in a pattern which is more coherent with the existing world, with the world outside our periphery also. That means our spiritual world and our material world, they are trying to be connected to create a synchronized form. That is the power of mantra. And that is what they talk of science of creative intelligence. When you go inside, because all the solutions, they are right now with you. No solution lies outside. Outside is just cues, You only get clues and cues from the outside world. But solution comes from your brain. So for that, you have to make your brain creative. And for that, you have to practice intensely that how you can control your mind, how you can focus it. And these vibrations, they train your brain in such a way. Then environmental management. So yajna, yajanas they say in English, but it's yajna. So yajna is performed, in yajna, they are doing two types of the rituals. One is, performing fire sacrifice, and another is chanting mantra. So when they are chanting mantra and they are performing the fire sacrifice, this fire sacrifice here is for noble purpose. You are actually, when you put ahuti means chhod diya aapne. You are trying to give it. So what you give, you sacrifice your ego, your selfishness, your material attachment. And what you get a holy atmosphere of rational thinking, compassion towards the other, which is dedicated for the welfare of all. And with fire, you destroy, because from fire, two type of heat, two type of energy, they come and form. One is the heat energy, and the another form of energy in yajna is the sound energy produced by the mantra. So these two energies, they work together to achieve the desired results of, destroying your ego, selfishness, and material attachments. And to give you what you desire is your physical, psychological, and spiritual composition together. And now I'll be explaining that whether our self-development is necessary and how we can develop. If we are not developed at our own self, like let's say I'm a teacher. I don't have to say it, I am a teacher basically. And if we say the principles of management, in modern world also, they are planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. So can I teach planning if I'm not planned myself? Can I teach organizing abilities to my students if I don't organize my thoughts? Can I direct my pupils and my disciples or my students if I'm not directing my own thoughts? And if I am not controlled with my own emotions, can I tell them what is control? So it's very, very important first to practice this principle within you, then to teach it. And how we can do this? In India, we say total self-management is dependent upon three types of things. One is manan. Manan means memorizing the things. Then is chintan. What you have memorized, try to contemplate it. That contemplation is very, very, very important. And once you contemplate, you come out with the best part of the memorized part. Even our body is doing that, We eat the food. Our body is accumulation of the food, And this accumulation of the food is in a positive sense. We eat the food, and from that food, the bile and the juices, they act upon. And they extract amino acids, they extract lipids, they extract carbohydrates, which are needed to our body. Certain enzymes, certain vitamins, which contribute towards our body. And the rest of the part is excreted. It goes out. Same has to be done with the mind. We should memorize first. Then we should do chintan. We should contemplate, and then we should take the best extract from that. And that best extract, which we have taken now, it should be put into practice. Because if you don't put the things into practice, you will forget what you have learned. Even the laws of classical conditioning, which have been explained by Ivan Pavlov, they talk about continuous practice to condition yourself to learn something. Even animals learn by this way. What to talk of humans? You just show a dog the biscuit and he runs towards it. He knows that is a biscuit. He has that common sense. You may call it a dog sense, but even that common sense is common with the dog also. So how we can do that? There are 4 paths which have been described in our ancient system. One is Gyan, Raja, Bhakti, Karma. Necessarily, you don't have to go through all of these 4 paths. You adopt one path and you will become effective at the end. Your aim is effectiveness. Okay? And these are the 4 ways. You take any of the 4 ways. I'll give you the example of the people who have been taking these ways and excellence have been achieved. Gyan. Gyan is the path of knowledge. This path of the knowledge has been adopted by the people who were into the feeling of the quest towards the universe. And they were the old ancient rishis. Rishis were not sages, We should not confuse rishi with the sages. These rishis were actually the people full of Gyan. They were the people with the knowledge. And this knowledge told them what self-discrimination is, how they can discriminate their thoughts, their attachments, and the external world and the cosmic world. So this is one part. Okay. Then is a path of mind or samadhi. They were people with a constant state of samadhi. If you see Shiva, Adi Yogi, these are the yogis, They are always in the constant state of samadhi. And when you are in the constant state of samadhi, you are actually concentrating. When you're concentrating, all the solutions will come to you. And so this is the path of samadhi. So this also, you focus and you can achieve all the desired objectives. Then is bhakti. Bhakti means surrendering. When I know I don't have gyan, when I know I cannot concentrate, when I don't have knowledge, when I cannot concentrate, then I can surrender at least. If I can surrender myself to somebody superior to me, and that is Lord, that is God, and whatever it does with my life, I'm ready to accept it. Again, I will achieve something higher in life. And this surrendering is done by the people like Mirabai, Guru Nanak Dev. They were the bhakti people, and they also achieved a lot. They also achieved the effectiveness. And the last, if I don't have knowledge, I cannot concentrate, and it's very difficult for me to surrender also. Situation is not like that. then at least I should perform whatever comes in my way. I should be selflessly performing my action. And that is the part which is explained by Krishna to Arjuna. That if you are just performing your duty and not doing anything else, not thinking about anything else, again, you can achieve your results. So these are the four paths: knowledge, concentration, devotion, action. So from any of this, you get still mind. Your mind becomes still. And when your mind becomes still, it gives you emergence of value. And this emergence of value from your mind will create a pure mind. And this pure mind will lead towards total centralization of values in your mind only. And that is value orientation. Now you are just talking of value orientation. And once you have in your mind the value orientation, you get is the effectiveness. That is what even we do in marketing. The best product is the product which gives, which maximizes the value. And this value is the combination of the benefits and the cost. How with the least cost I can get the best value or the best benefits. That is value. So here also we are trying to make the things effective by orienting, by centralizing the total value into one process. And these are the four ways. I hope now you understood that how we can follow this path and we can achieve, or we can try to achieve, or we tend to achieve the effectiveness. Any of the four paths, but you have to constantly work upon them. Generally, you know what we do? We do a bit of this, a bit of this, and bit of this, and bit of this. And jack of all trades and master of none. It's very difficult to arrive at the solution at this point of time with this particular orientation. So just do one thing and be the best in that. And then you will achieve the best results from that one. So now, summarizing the things, I will try to say that in the West, when I say away from means away from Indian system, and towards means towards Indian system. In India, towards Indian system, we talk of all the people as basically good. We don't, analyze people here. We accept people. हम कहते हैं क्षमादान महादान means forgive everyone, because everyone is human being. So we accept all the people. But in Western part, we analyze people being good and bad. So here we talk of people as human beings. There they talk of human being as in a state of evolution, or as an individual, which may be negative or positive. So they talk of individuals as a fixed people, but we take individuals in always a constant process of development. And there they try to resist the differences, but here we try to accept the differences. We always talk of collectivism. That is why we talk of world as one family. So we accept all the individual differences. So in India, we view the person as whole. We make most possible, usage of his expression and feelings. But there we just talk of expressions, and we have walling the feelings there. Feelings are very, very important. So there we try to put the people in the role, like role playing, game modeling and all. But here we talk of true, authentic behavior. And here we talk of status for power and personal, objectives. But here status is nothing, but it is basically your duty. When we say Ram Rajya, so the utopian kind of society, then Ram is not acting as a king, but he is acting as a main servant of all the people. So that is the concept of even in India, we use the word civil servants, but how much they are servants to the civil society, we all know this. But services means servant. But here we take civil servants as one of the most highly status person. So that is a wrong way. Rather, they are the most responsible citizens to serve the society. Confrontation in our society, हमारे यहाँ पे कहा जाता था, we used to say वार्तालाप. So Shastrat. What is all this? Shastrat, Vartalap. These all are the confrontations to arrive at the best. But there we only talk of data. Something which is not based upon the data is not factual. It's not like that. Even if it is not factual, it can be factual after a few years. Then here we take work or task of accomplishment. And work is actually the total process. But there we only take that work which is more productive and we leave unproductive. And that is a wrong way. Even unproductive part is a part of work. You know, when Edison was asked that how many times he failed, he said, I never failed. I learned so many times how not to make the work. So that is a part of work also. That is a part of achievement. So here we talk of collaboration, there we talk of competition. And finally, we trust and they believe in mistrust. And I will be trying to end with the quotes of Swamiji. He says that in the West, they are trying to solve the problem. You know, these things were spoken decades back. And now we are talking of this issue, and this is the greatest challenge we are facing now, and that is sustainability. And see, Swamiji, how many decades back he has given this solution. He says in the West, they are trying to solve the problem of how much a man can possess. That means in West, people want to acquire more and more and more and more. But here in India, we are trying to solve the problem on how little a man can live. Because in India, we are always told to be contented, to be satisfied with whatever we have. And he says, if history has any truth, we have to resort to the later part to gain the better. That means one who knows how to live on the least and the little will survive in the end. And that is what even the COVID time, the COVID challenge is telling us. That is what sustainability is. When we talk of sustainability, we talk of how our planet has to be conserved, how our people have to be collaborated, and then we should think of the profit. But we were till now reversing this value chain. We were talking of the profits, and then we were trying to distribute our profits towards the welfare of the people and some part to the planet. Don't you think it has to be vice versa? Why? Because it is the planet which is the most macro force. It is the people which is the second macro force. And the most micro thing is the output out of it, that is the profit. So if I am contributing to the success of my planet, to the success of my people, definitely they will accept me and definitely I will be getting my due share. And my due share is my due profit. But remember, the word due is very important. Undue profit, undue share is killing the mankind and is actually against all the principles of humanity. When I say against the principle of humanity, that means we don't have right to live. Because if we don't know the right way of living, then we don't have the right to live. The right to live is given to those people who have right way of living. And right way of living is consuming less, doing more for others. And that is gratification. That is satisfaction. And that makes you great. I'm not taking your time to tell you how to become great, but I'm just trying to shift your thought, just trying to become a wage earner or trying to be or being a human to other people to solve their problems. And once you solve their problems, once you love them, definitely you get everything in return. So that is why Vivekananda is saying that if contentment comes to our mind, we know how to live upon less, then definitely we can survive with the least. And who knows to survive with the least, nobody can eliminate him. He will succeed and he will go ahead because sacrifice leads to success. So with this, I end up my presentation. Thank you all. These were the references which I have used for your to end up my presentation, and I will like to have queries and any doubts, any discussions. from your side.
Thank you so much, Professor Sharma. It's indeed a great presentation. Now we are going to question answer session. Sir, there are some questions for you. Sir, may I read out the questions?
Definitely.
Sir, first question is from Madam Momita. Madam Momita. She's question is, what is emotional maturity?
Emotional maturity, yes. A very good thing. You know, first of all, what we should try to classify what are emotions and how our emotions are depicted. Our emotions are byproducts of our feelings. Now, from where our feelings they come? Our feelings are actually whatever we take from environment, we take of environment, you know. I'll go to the scientific process of it. So let me explain through the science. Whatever we sense through our five senses. From those five senses, we are exposed to this world right from our childhood. And from that, we experience many things. But there is something inside us, we don't know what is that, which takes up the reactions. A similar kind of the thing, a man is going to a cold place and he's liking that, and a man is going to a cold place and he's shivering. So that is an experience. These two people are having two types of experience at that same place. So is it the problem with the place, or is it the problem with the man? It is actually the problem with the habitat part, that he is not inhabited to be in that place. Same is with the emotions. Emotions arise out of your mind complexities. Your mind is dealing with so many things which you call emotions. They are the derivatives of your feelings. And these feelings are the derivatives of your sense organs. When you make your sense organs more sensitive, more aroused, then you express them through your feelings. And this feeling part is your emotions. Now comes with the maturity. Maturity means how you can, with your experience, with your learning, with your knowledge, you can deal with your emotions at parallels with the other emotions. You know, most of the times we argue, we confront. We argue. Why? Because my emotions are coming into the way of the another person's emotion. But if I have an empathy, I can understand his feelings, his viewpoint, his rationale. Even if my tranquility is not disturbed with that, and I'm not changing my own self, but I'm just listening to him. So that is one part of maturity. And if I feel that his solution, his argument is better, and I empathize with that, I understand that, that becomes even more mature. You know, they say, to err is human. To err is human. To accept that err is more human. And to forgive that error is divine. That means these are three stages. You commit errors. Somebody will come and slap you. So that is not maturity. Because you understand that errors are to be committed. So that is lack of emotional maturity. So understanding errors can be committed is one mature thought. And forgiving the errors is more, you can say, the mature stage. Or I say the divine state. We do so many of wrong deeds, and God is forgiving us daily. The most matured spirit in this total cosmos. Parents forgive us. They're more mature. So emotional maturity means not only dealing with your emotions, but your emotions when they, coincide with the other emotions. So that is emotional maturity. And it comes with equanimity of mind. Equanimity of mind is when you start taking every viewpoint equally, with equal respect. Even what you feel is foolish is not foolish. Even word nonsense has some sense in that. You have to just separate non from that and take sense out of it. So that is what I want to say about emotional maturity? Yes, more please. I suppose ma'am has been addressed. And she has expressed her thanks. Thank you, ma'am.
Parna.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Sir, the next question from Professor Joseph Husbach. If a manager religiously connected himself too much, will he not be more scrupulous than being more open and creative person?
You just repeat the first part. He is manager what? He is managing what?
If a manager religiously connect himself too much, will he
Okay.
not be more scrupulous than being more open and creative person?
He will be more scrupulous by being more creative person. This is what
Huh.
you want to ask.
Yes.
See, if he is performing his act very religiously means duty bound here. So if he is doing the things, he will definitely become more creative with the practice. Because for me, creativity is not something which is just sitting and getting the creation. No. Creativity is your experiences with the life. How can you be creative if I have gone to, let's say, some particular place, then only I can discover a new way to go to that place again. If I've never gone to that place, how can I be creative to discover a new way of doing it? So if I become more open, more accessible to other people ideas, and at the same time I become more practitioner in that form, definitely I'll become more creative. But one thing which has to be done is the total process has to be contemplated time and again. I have to critically examine and re-examine my own self. It is not vitalizing, it is revitalizing what we need, because we has been vitalized by the God. But now we need revitalization because our environment, societal, natural, personal, social, so many things, so many forces upon us, and they have actually destroyed many of our capabilities. So now is the time we have to revitalize. It is like our immunity has been destroyed, so we have to take something inside, to pop up something inside, to come out with more immune system. And that is because we are born with creativity. You just see a child, how much creative he is. He's a great creator. A child is always a great creator. Why? Because he is less exposed to the environment. And most of the time he's creating his own things. He is imagining. His power of imagination is great. But our system is such, the more and more he grows with more analysis. And actually creativity comes on decreasing end. Why? Because acceptance also comes on decreasing end. It becomes more rigid. We say the elder people, they will not change. Why? Because they're more rigid. So creativity is thinking out of the box. So if you want to think out of the box, you have to be less rigid. You have to shackle the things around. You have to break those shackles of thoughts. Whatever is restricting me, first of all, I should know that. Whatever is restricting me from doing the right thing, nothing should, resist you. You have to break those restrictions yourself. Who stops you from eating good food? No one. We all know what is good food. All the audience sitting here, they are intelligent enough to know what is good food. Everyone knows what is balanced diet. Knowing and performing, there's a huge gap. And that is where the result is. If we all know what is good diet, then why we need the help of dietitian? That is just to reorient our thinking. We know what is right diet, but we need a help of a dietitian. Why? We don't need a dietitian. We need a monitor. Actually, we need a monitor to guide us, to tell us, to control us. That's it. and your creativity is left behind. But if you will discover, I must tell you, if you will discover your own way of arriving at the right solution, nobody can, ever steal your solution from you. And that is the ability of great people. I'm not saying do not be counseled, do not take advices. Take advices, be counseled, but then sit, contemplate, think, and then move. How can I just put anybody's shirt and it will suit to my fitting? No. I can take anyone's shirt, I can try it fittings, but then I have to make my own alterations. And that is what I say to advices also. Take advices. They will work for you. Make alterations. Make them specific for you only. Your creativity is your mind. Focus upon that. I hope the query is answered.
Thank you, sir. Sir, may I ask another question?
Yeah, why not?
Sir, another question from Mr. Raj Das.
Okay.
The question is, how can we control our emotions if while trading something, sometimes we make losses? Because just due to emotional aspects, we end up with wrong trade orders.
Ma'am, your voice is cracking. I just heard the first
Sir,
part. How we can
sir,
control it.
sir, may I read out another again?
Please read it. Thank you. Thank you,
The
sir.
question is, how can we control our emotions if while trading sometimes we make losses? Because
Okay.
just due to emotional aspects, we end up with wrong trade further.
With wrong?
Wrong trade. Wrong trade further.
Wrong trade. Okay. This is desire which is controlling everything here. The total world, actually, we are living into is a desirous world. We want to build up a world of our own desires. But just ask yourself whether the world is your desirous world or whether you are the byproduct of the world desire. Are you creating the creator or creator is creating you? Now the question of losses and performance. This is what Nishkam Karma is. They are linked. You're trying to link the two. No doubt, input and output, they're linked. But definite proportion? No. Can anyone suggest me any machine which is giving total output based upon the input only? There are so many frictional forces in that. There's no ideal machine. When there is no ideal machine, then there is no ideal, you can say, performance and no ideal achievement. And when there is no ideal achievement, we should know what is optimality. If I am making losses this day, let's suppose, and then I am emotional for one day is fine. But if my emotion lead me into more chaotic way of thinking, I will be destroying my own self. And then you end up, what he has said, he'll be end up into investing somewhere wrong also again. Why? Because these emotions, they will engulf his mind. Now the question is how he can control this. Starting something is very important. But more important is withdrawing yourself from that start. Stopping yourself. That is why the last function of management is control. The first function is planning. But I must tell you, management cannot happen in this world without control. So you should know to control. And how you can control? Withdraw yourself. Once you withdraw yourself, sit quietly. Don't even analyze. That is not the right time to analyze. You are so much depressed about your emotions. You will analyze in a wrong way. Just try to calm yourself first and start thinking that what wonders you have done till date, what gains you have made till date. Enthuse confidence in yourself. Start afresh. We know how to refresh the windows, but we seldom refresh these windows here. Refresh them. Then think rationally. And your past is always past. Nobody on this earth has ever amended the past. We say recreation of the past. I don't feel any past is recreated. Some cues say some history is being repeated, but it is with a new perspective, new challenges again. So that recreation, what you say, is a phenomenal discovery of something new. It's not a discovery of something old. Discovery itself means new. So now something new phenomena has to come out from you, and it will only come to you when you will leave those past remorses, those sadness, those emotions. And you think of yourself as a potential, a bundle of energy. And a son of God. When you say, when Jesus says he's son of God, he forgets all the pain. Even I will like to use Bible here. Can you imagine a man who is crucified on the cross and he's being nailed and he's praying for the people who are crucifying him? Why? Because even in that state, he is not in the state of pain, because he has surrendered himself to the will of God. So any loss, if surrendered to the will of God and trying to do it again with more passion, again with the will of God, you will definitely come out with the all, emotional imbalances and all. It's difficult to practice, but it's not impossible to practice. And it's very much possible to come with the right solutions. Just see a child. A lot of learnings you can take from a toddler. In his total span of 6 to 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. He's learning to talk, he's learning to walk, he falls, he starts again. Have you seen child remembering his previous fall? Then he will never walk. Time and again you stop him and he does that thing again. Because he is an experiential person. He wants to experience the things. He's an explorer. He explores. And that is why he is joyful. He's not crying because of any, he's into remorse. He's crying because crying for him is a gesture of communication. He is not crying because he's sad. No child cries because he's sad. Child is never sad. He's joyful by nature. We, with our learning, we tend to make our children sad, depressed, tempted, greedy. Why? Because we want to place them in the world of competition. We are all alone in this world. We are running our own races. There's no first, no second. So why to think about? You were not born with all the losses. You were not born with all the gains. What you gained you gained it from here. What you will lose it here only. So don't think about it. Just start to refresh. So my one word answer is, for all the discussion I've made, a very elaborate discussion, because this is something, which everyone is feeling in life. Losses, failures. The only thing is refresh. You refresh your energies, you refresh yourself, refresh your thoughts, and then start. I may be wrong, but try it. Just because I'm saying it, just do it a chance. Give it a chance. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, Professor Sharma, for your valuable speech. It's indeed a great presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Sharma.
Okay.
Next, now I request our colleague, Dr. Prabir Datta, for ending. Dr. Datta, over to you.
Hello, audible?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
audible, sir.
Hello,
Audible, audible.
yes. Hello, my respected teachers, distinguished guests, and beloved students. We are at the end of day one of the today national webinar titled Contemporary Issues in Management, Finance, and ICT, organized by the Department of Commerce in collaboration with IQAC of Tabogram Hilal Pal College. Webinar was inaugurated by our Honorable President of the GB, G. Apurva Mujumdar, and welcome address was given by the Honorable Principal of the College, Dr. Sikanto Samant. We have here three distinguished speakers from different parts of India speaking on three different issues over today. Dr. Rishiraj Sharma, Professor, Department of Business Management, has spoken today on the topic Management Principle enshrined in the Vedas. The search for excellence and all-round happiness has been important objectives of mankind since ages. Happiness can be attained either through self-containment or fulfillment of desire. Business, a center for creation and distribution of goods and services, is one of the way of fulfilling one's desire. Business refers to activities of group or groups of individuals. Management, through some principles called rules, makes an efficient and effective relation between work and personal life. This helps in attaining group goals or goals. However, politics, social and economic forces govern management principle over time. There have been many changes across the globe over time, but several management principles have survived the test of time, sticking around since the Vedic ages. Dr. Rishiraj Sharma has presented his topic very uniquely in his lecture. He says management should be thought from Indian perspective. Management principles should include emotion, feeling of an individual for quality management, welfare concept, ethical profit, Nishkam Karma, ethical values are to be included in management. Value-based management derived from our culture. He touches various aspects of management in the light of our ancient culture. In spite of his busy schedule, he gave us time and delivers a lively and thought-provoking lecture. Congratulations, Dr. Rishiraj Sharma. Tomorrow, day 2, we will again be on line at 3 p.m. with two distinguished speakers, namely Dr. Kanchan Patil from Symbiosis Center for Information Technology, Pune. Her topic, Digital Health, New Normal Post-COVID, and Dr. Nagori Chakraborty from Presidency University, Kolkata, topic, Indian Green Stocks, a hedging instrument during crisis. At the first phase of our webinar today, there are some disruptions which beyond our control. Participants, please bear with us. Participants, please stay with us also tomorrow. Thank you.
thank you, Professor.
Okay.
Datta. Okay, thank you, Professor Datta. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our afternoon. On behalf of our department, thank you all for making time in your busy schedule to join us. Wish you all a pleasant day. Stay safe and stay indoors. Thank you very much to all the participants, to Sir Apurva Mujumdar, our governing body, President of our governing body, our principal Sir Dr. Srikanto Samanto, and all the participants, and last of all, our resource person, Dr. Rishiraj Sharma. Thank you
Thank
once
you,
again.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Roy. Thank you so much. So it
Thank you.
was very lively to have all of you here. And my best wishes to all the audience. Stay safe and stay healthy. God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
आज better. ये phone आ गया Calcutta.
Andy Das Babu. So I hope I justified my responsibility.